Hello everyone, this is my life for Ire, and there's nothing much going on today. We're gonna just sit down here and talking about random stuff, talking about my gear, the cameras, lenses that I have. Right now I'm shooting with a GH5, and I really like the color of GH5. I don't know if it's because of the autumn, the season, you know, all the trees are yellowish, so they have this golden look to it. Also there's kind of sunset right now, so yeah. But every time I shoot with the GH5, right now I just use standard profile. I don't use the Cine D anymore. When I first got the camera, I just right off the bat I went into the Cine D because I'm used to shoot S-Log on my Sony cameras, so I thought I wanted to have the flattest profile possible from the GH5. But in the end, since I shoot a lot of tennis videos, and those videos last like 40 minutes or 1 hour long, and if I shoot Cine D, very flat profile, I have to color grade the entire thing, and then it just takes some more time to process, to render the video. So in the end I decided against it. I just changed my mind and started to shoot standard profile without any, I don't have to heavy color grade it during the editing process. So that made my life much easier, and also I find that actually the standard profile is pretty good. It looks pretty nice. I can still slap on a little bit of LUT to make it a little bit, just to make the color pop a little bit more. Just need to lower the intensity of the LUT. It comes out really nice, really pleasing look. That's how I make my videos now. So I don't shoot Cine D anymore. And yeah, I'm happy with the result. Speaking of cameras and lenses, I sold a lot of cameras this year in 2020. Actually, I sold the Sony A7R II, I sold the 72-200 f4 OSS G lens. That was a great lens. Of course, A7R II is also a great camera. I sold it mainly because I'm not using them. It's kind of waste. Yeah, in my hand, it's a waste in my hand. It's just much better to sell it to someone who's gonna actually use it. And I also sold the Sony 24-105 f4 G lens, fantastic lens, but I already have the 28-75, so it didn't make much sense to own both lenses that cover the same focal range pretty much. So I sold that one. I probably sold some other items that I don't remember at the moment. And right now I just put the A6300 and the kit lens and the newer 25mm f1.8 on sale, as well as the gimbal, the mini gimbal, the G Crane M2. I'm trying to sell those because I'm not using them. Unfortunately. I have a deep affection about the A6300 because it was my first 4K video camera, and I was so excited getting that camera. When I first got the camera, I was so excited shooting 4K with it. And back then it cost so much money. It cost 900 euros, and now it's worth maybe 600 with the lens. Back then I bought the body only was 900 euros. So yeah, speaking of gear, so what kind of gear is the kind of gear that I will never sell? In other words, I will never regret buying. So I've been thinking a little bit. The GH5 is definitely the camera that I bought, that I'm 100% convinced that I will never sell. Well, at least not until I upgrade. I just cannot find any fault from this camera. I can't find anything wrong with this camera. It's just almost perfect. And I also have the A7SII. It's also fantastic. I love this camera very much. But still, it's flawed in my eyes because it doesn't shoot 4K 60p. And in-body stabilization isn't that great. So you say GH5 has very small sensor, that's also a flaw, but you can fix that flaw by adapting, by using a speed booster and use faster lenses. And it doesn't cost that much. A speed booster 180 euro, 190 euro, and you get a Canon lens, Sigma lens, and you can get very fast aperture, very bright. But with the A7SII, it's something with the body itself, with the camera body itself. You cannot change that. You cannot adapt something and make it shoot 4K 60p. It doesn't work like that. So that way, kind of GH5 is kind of yeah, impeccable in my eyes, and A7S II is kind of flawed, though I do still love it very much. Another flaw is that the sensor has a little bit damaged dead pixel in my A7S II. It came like that because I bought used camera, and it was impossible to tell. It's very difficult to tell if you don't shoot in specific scene. For example, you're shooting against a blue sky, you can see those dead pixels, but otherwise you just cannot notice them. So I don't blame the guy who sold me the camera, and I can't blame myself for not finding out the flaw, the defect before I bought it, because it's so unnoticeable. But still, it is there. It exists. There's those dead pixels on my sensor. It means that it's gonna be very difficult for me to resell it, to sell it to someone else when I have the knowledge. I know that it's flawed. I have to lower the price if I ever have to sell the A7S II. And same goes with my Tamron 28-75 lens. That is always on my A7S II because they're such a nice combo. Great bokeh, f2.8, super fast aperture, but it's gotten a little bit, kind of a little bug crawled inside the lens, like it's inside lens elements. You can't see it if I show you like this. You have to look really closely. It's very unnoticeable, so it doesn't affect the image quality. But if you look very closely, you can see the little bug that died inside of the lens. It just curled up inside. It can't even see what it is. It's just a tiny little white dot, like 1 pixel big. You can't see at all. If you take a picture or a video, you can't see it. But it's annoying there, you know. So the same thing goes with this lens. If I ever want to sell this lens, I have to lower the price because I know that there's this defect, this little dead bug in there. So it's a pity. It means I'm gonna lose a lot of money if I ever have to sell them. So now we have the GH5, and it's in perfect condition, and I love this camera. And I love this camera from top to bottom, from inside out. It's just fantastic. Shooting video and photos as well, and I can adapt to other lenses. It's very versatile, and it has a very powerful future-proof video capabilities, shooting 4K 400 megabits per second. It's insane. And 4K 60p. I mean, 4K 120p would be even better, but who would need that? Like, yeah, it's totally fine. And also another huge surprise came with the GH5 was the 1080p footage was so clean, so crisp, so detailed. So it's just completely different from the Sony's 1080p footage. So that was like a huge, happy surprise. I was so happy about that. So right now I'm shooting a lot in 1080p on the GH5 just because the 1080p looks so good. It's ridiculous. I used to be like, why would anyone shoot 1080p? Because 1080p is mushy and blurry and everything. But it turned out it's just Sony. It's just Sony, especially Sony A6300. The 1080p is horrible. But if you shoot GH5, the 1080p is just gorgeous. I love it. And when I edit the video, when I export it, I export in 4K so I can preserve all the details and not lose it to YouTube compression. So that's another thing about my workflow. All right, cool. We talked about the gear. We talked about what I thought was perfect, what I thought I was 100% convinced. Next, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the Leica 12 to 60mm f2.8 to f4 because I use the Lumix kit lens so much. I love this focal range. It's very versatile and very tiny. It's perfect for vlogging. Love it. So I want some upgrade. I want something faster, but I don't want 12 to 35, 12 to 32. It's a little bit too short to my likings. So I'm thinking to get the Leica maybe next year. Yeah, probably next year. Gonna save money. And what else do I want to get? Oh yeah, the 100 to 300 telephoto Lumix lens. That is a plus. It's a bonus. If I get it, I'll be happy, but it's not necessary. So my priority is at the Leica 12 to 60. So I'm gonna save money for next year for that lens. And stay tuned. I'm gonna do a lot of comparison and test between the Leica lens and the Lumix kit lens. just to see which one. I mean, they're probably gonna be very similar. It's just kind of a build quality difference and a kind of a mechanically, that one, the Leica has parfocal and everything, and it's a little bit faster, you know, just a little bit cooler, more premium, that kind of thing. Alright, it's a little short, you know, just talking to the camera thing, because there's no special activities today, no tennis, no whatever. Didn't have time to go out to shoot stuff. I don't know what to shoot, whatever. So I'm gonna end here, go back in my room and read books, play Starcraft. That's my life. See you. Bye. Subscribe.